welcome back to the channel. What I'm going to do today, I'm going to take the forks out of the bullet. I'm going to change the oil. She's 5-year-old and looking at the rest of the bike it won't have been changed. So while I've got a chance I'm going to take it out, strip it down and replace the oil. Right, let's make a start then. Right, what I need to do first is the bike's on the centre stand, is lift it up, put an axle stand with a piece of wood under the front engine mount. That just takes the weight off the wheel so I can spin the wheel around. Alright. Now, I actually started doing things on this, then I remembered I was supposed to be filming it. Right. First job, remove the caliper. When you removed it, just sit it out of the way. There's 2 bolts here, take them out, slide the caliper off the disc and just put it out of the way, along with the ABS sensor, which fits under here. Just a bolt, that pulls out, that stays with the caliper. What I do next, undo the stay bolts, which is 2 left on this side. There would be 4, but that's holding the caliper. And a 24mm spanner to undo the spindle nut. Come round this side, pinch bolt. Right, let's put this camera down. I think you can see. Yep, this pinch bolt, which I've already slacked off. Like I say, I nearly had the wheel out and remembered I hadn't got the camera going. Then, 12mm socket, take the rest of these bolts out. Well, I cracked them off while I got the wheel in. Just saves twisting on the forks with nothing in them. You might find these are quite tight, because I think this is the first time any of this has been to pieces, and it's still got the factory Loctite on everything. $17mm on here, you can just twist that out. Took the nut off. Pull the spindle out. You need to take the mudguard off first, looking at it. It isn't going to clear the front. Look on the other side. One more bolt. This will give us the clearance to pull the wheel out. Put the mudguard out of the way so it doesn't get scratched. Yeah, this spacer sits inside the speedo drive. So put that with there, along with that. Right, once we've got the wheel out. See the wheel over there. What I've got to do next, the bracket here that holds the indicators on, undo the nut, take the bracket off. Then behind that, there's the pinch bolt there. You'll see it when I got this off. I'll undo that, and that slackens the clamp off that holds the forks in. You've also got to undo this bolt here, I've just slacked off. So when you've got this slacked off, take that bolt out, then this lower half of the fork leg will slide out, so we'll get that done. That's enough to slack it. Now, undo this Allen bolt at the top. That should come out of here. It does. Right. As you can see, the bit where the seal's been sliding is perfectly clean. It's not bad, this, they're just 5 years old. It's got a little bit of surface rust, they're not pits though. Same on the top. That'll clean up, as good as new. Oh, I think what I'll do now, I'll carry on with the other fork. I'll get both fork legs out for you, and then we're going to drain them out. Right. On this side, same process as before. Remove the indicator. Slacken this nut off. The bolt goes right through. This slackens the clamp off what's inside of here. That's what's gripping the top tube on your forks. Undo that bolt. Oof. You're unscrewing this from the top of the fork leg now. There we go. Reasons it's a bit tight, getting it past these rusty spots, but they'll clean up. Right. What I'm going to do now, I'll just show you the forks. I've cleaned the forks up a bit. Well, cleaned up a lot. Spent many hours polishing these. They're still not completely finished, but we're getting there. I've also cleaned these up. I said this was surface rust, and it was. It just look like new now. Now, normally at this stage, what I'd do is remove the stanchions from the fork lowers. You do that by, I don't know if you can be able to see this in there. Inside there's an Allen bolt. You undo that. Then you can pull these out of this. But as I'm finding with the Royal Enfield stuff, it doesn't look like nobody or hardly anybody makes pattern parts for these at all, of anything. Oil filters, you have to buy genuine Royal Enfield, quite a few things. And it's been the same with the fork seals. I've had a look, I can't get any in Bulgaria. We do have a main dealer in Bulgaria, but they don't tend to carry any stock, I don't think. If you order anything, they order it from France, I believe. I think that's the main warehouse in Europe. But for some reason, their website is down, and most of everybody else's in Europe, UK, everywhere, their site is down. So I don't know what's going on there, like. But India, again, I can get the parts, but that's no good to me today, is it really? So now I've had a look. Obviously, the seals aren't leaking and have not been leaking. I have lifted these. Let me just pop one off for you. So we can. This is just the dust. These caps here, just the dust seals. I don't know whether you can see in there. It's spotless. There's not even the slightest hint of been leaking. So I'm not going to take the seals out, and because I'm not going to take the seals out, I'm not going to take the fork legs out, because there's always a risk, because at the bottom of the stanchions there's bushes, and I don't want to pull these out or push these back in with the bushes in, and it might rip my seals. So I'm not going to risk that. So I'm going to leave the stanchions in the lowers, but we're going to drain the oil out. I'm going to clean it out with some cleaning fluid. So let me just put the camera down and we'll take the tops off. Right, we're going to undo this cap. It's got two flats on it. It's 28mm. So we'll get this undone. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to pour the water into a jug, because I've been trying to find out how much oil and what weight oil goes in the bullet forks, and I just can't find the information. Hitchcocks tell me to look on the forums. They sell all the different grades, and they've told me to look on the forums and see what people are doing, because like they say, Bullet aren't very forthcoming with information. They want you to take everything to their service centre, and even their oil, if you buy Royal Enfield fork oil, it doesn't say what weight oil it is. It just says it's in a blue bottle and it says F1 Royal Enfield. Well, Royal Enfield don't make oil, do they? The idea is you buy their oil. Unless you buy their oil, you don't know what you're putting in it. Now I've looked on all the forums, and the best I can come up with, these forks are the same as what's in the 500 Classic. They're not the ones that's got the leading edge with the wheel at the front like a Himalayan is. The traditional in the bottom here, straight up and down job. They're the same as what's in the Classic, and some of the guys I've come across, they put 195 millilitres of oil per leg in, and they're running 15 weight oil. Which is what I'm going to go with. My only concern is these forks have got 5.5 inches of travel. Now, I just wondered in the UK, because the roads are better than Bulgaria. I know you lads in the UK think you've got rough roads. You ain't got rough roads, not compared to what we've got here. Their roads, 15 weight might be quite good ride, but here we've got a lot of potholes, huge dips and bumps and all sorts. I'm just wondering whether it might be a bit stiff to cope with the bumps. I don't know, but I've got to start somewhere. You know, I could go and put 10 weight in or 7.5 weight, put it in and find it's too soft. So I'm going to go with 15 weight and see how I get on with it at start. Right, so another way of checking it, they say 195, but on some of the bullets, some people's putting 400 millilitres in, but it's different models. the different models, the different years, have got different amounts of oil in, and you can't always, well, say years, you can't always go on the years, because like the bullets in America are behind the ones that's in Europe, and the Europe ones was Euro 4, which I don't believe even got to America or Australia, because they don't need to do. They don't need it, and they're actually getting. If you said you've got a 2018 bullet, it won't be the same 2018 bullet as you get in Europe, because yours won't be Euro 4. Yours could be the older model, even though it's brand new. If that makes sense. Anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to drain the oil out into the jug so I can measure how much I take out. It's just another way of checking. Seals haven't been leaking, so it shouldn't have lost any oil. And if it's close to the reading of 194 millilitres, that's what I'm going to go with. Right, let's get these caps off. See if I can do it without hitting the camera or putting the cap in my head. There we go. Not too bad at all. Move this one out of the way. Right. Take the spacer out top. Pour the oil into the jug. There'll be a spring come out of here and a washer possibly. Oh hell. Well, you can see that on the camera, I'll show you after, but it looks like sludge. Right. Let me just dry my hands a bit. Right. Well, so you can see the first thing, look at the colour of that. Resembles sludge. Never been changed. And we're looking on here, just where the bottom of my finger is. I don't think the camera's going to pick the... Oh, it does. That's 200, that mark. And that oil is just below it. So I think the lads was right. We're going to go with 195 millilitres of oil. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to swill this out inside to get any crap out of the bottom. Then I'll set about the second leg, do that, Clean all the springs down there, be washed, spacer everything. Then we'll get the new oil and we'll pour that in accurately, both legs, 195 millilitres, and rebuild the forks. Okay, I'll switch the camera off while I'm going to get all this here washed and cleaned and the other oil out. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Right, what I'm going to be putting in a Motul 15 weight. It's semi-synthetic, so that's what I'm going to be putting in this. I'm going to put 195 millilitres in. The accurate way for me to do it, I've got a 100 millilitre measuring jug here. These are quite accurate. How I'd normally do it wouldn't be by millilitres. I'd put it in, but then to double check it, usually on most bikes you can get an air gap and you have a measurement from the top to the oil is the most accurate way of doing it. But on the bullet I can't find any information at all. And I'm only going by this is by what I've seen on the forums on the classic 500, which uses exactly the same fork as I have for the bullet, Euro 4. Excuse me. And the guys on there say 195 millilitres. As you saw, I tipped it out and it was just under the 200 on my plastic jug, so I'm going with 195 millilitres. So I'll pour out 100 for a start. Right. Pour that into the fork. Now we want 95. 80, 95, so. There we go. Now I flushed these legs out inside, got rid of any sludge or crap that was in the bottom, so I know it's cleaning through the valves and everywhere. Now I've got 195 millilitres of oil in here. What I'm going to do then is pump this up and down. What we're doing by doing this is purging the air out of the valves at the bottom. So there's no air in there, which means you should get this nice smooth action when you're going down the road. I'm going to do this, I don't know, half a dozen to a dozen times. Yeah, now I can't hear nothing. Nice and smooth, there's no gurgling or bubbling, means the air's out of the system in it now. Replace the spring with the narrow part of the spring, this piece, in first. Just drop that inside. Your plastic spacer with the closed end, looks like a plastic washer part of it, in there first, and that sits in there. Your cap, pretty easy to do, just press it down on these. Turn that until it's tight. Your spanner. Now actually on these, I don't know if you can really see it so good on there, they're actually on the factory, they marked a yellow mark on it, paint mark. I don't know whether the camera's going to pick this up, to be honest. There's a little paint mark here where it went up here, so just retighten it back to there. You know, I'm a big believer in everything should have a torque wrench setting, but this isn't a normal nut on here. It's got two flats on instead. And you're not going to over tighten this because you can't really hold this tight enough. But once the ring's seated and it's tight, I think we should be good to go. Like, I do have a strap I can put round here, and I will just twitch them up in a few minutes. Yeah, that's working lovely. Yeah, so much for just polishing the fork legs, eh? Right. So that's one fork leg completely done, back together. So I will just recheck the tightness on that. But you don't have to go mad, it's not going to come undone, believe me. That one's ready to go back in the bike. Now I'll do this one the same, and then I'll turn the camera off while I'm doing it, and then we'll start putting these back in the bike and see how we get on with it then. Right, about ready. I've got oil in both my fork legs. I've purged the air out of them. The caps are on. I've retightened these. In actual fact, this one, the yellow marks line up exactly with the originals, so it's exactly the same place. Not that it matters really, but it should be. So we're ready to put these back in the bike. Now, just one thing. I will show you a little tip I use. When you take these out, you often find this part of the fork leg, like I polished mine, so I've got rid of most of them. I've got rub marks somewhere on them. And what causes that is, well, I'll show you as I put these in. I've got to slide these in here. There we go. That's going through the bottom yoke now. And you slide this up till I get to the nut on the top. That slides up. Now, one of the problems is these, if you look, these can go anywhere. So, trick I do, a genuine Royal Enfield tool I've got, a toilet roll. What you do, cut it down there so it opens up, slide this around the bottom of the alley part like this, then slide your fork up. That's the fact we're nowhere near. Oh, that's it. There we go. There. Right, that's just started in the top of the fork. What I do with the cardboard, the toilet roll, is slide that up inside here. As far as I can get it. And what that's doing, that's sort of giving us the centre. So this is in the centre of the shield. So hopefully it helps not to do, so it's not offset when you tighten everything up and it's rubbing the top of your fork leg all the time, which is what you don't want. So that's the way it's going to go around, but don't worry about that if it's not quite right, because this will just spin. It's that piece in there. So, right, I'm going to tighten this up. Right, I'm just going to do it a bit more than snug at the moment, so I've got to find out the torque wrench setting for this, if possible, which I'll put in the comments below for you so you can get the correct torque setting. But that's pulled the inner leg flush with the top of the yoke. Right. Yeah, if you see that, see, that just nicely slides up there. Now, it's not moving the leg at all, that's solid because it's got to be in there. I've got to twitch that up yet. But it's when you tighten this bolt up, this can be up, down, it can be anywhere if you see that. So you just want to push it up till it's touched the rubber. Then I'm just going to do that a bit snug, that's all. Don't go mad, just snug up, because that's just got to be snug. Because when I put the other fork leg in and then we put the wheel in, I want to check that the wheel and the top yoke is in line. You've not got your handlebars like this and your wheels slightly to the left, slightly to the right. You only have to do it by your eye, but that's how it is. Right, I'll get this other side in. I'm going to get the mudguard back in and I'll get the wheel put in loosely so everything's in, and then we'll carry on with the filming. Right, I've got the other leg pushed in, got my cardboard up there. What I do, push the lower wheel spindle in. It should just slide in. If everything's a-okay, it should just slide in nicely, that. It's just a way of knowing that these are absolutely in line with each other, because obviously this is a perfect fit inside the bottom of the yokes, bottom of the fork legs. So I'm going to tighten up these bolts in here, there. That's the front of it. That's how this is holding the bottom clamp. These are done up snug. I shall do these up snug, enough to hold it. I've got my cardboard in here, as you can see. That pushes in there, and that's going to give us an equal gap all the way around here. Make sure these are pushed up to the seal. This one the same, just goes up till it gets to the rubber seal. That's it. Then these will be tightened on the back of there. So I'll get on and tighten these bits up. I should be checking this as I do it. I've got this in the bottom. When these are snug, I'm going to take this out, the spindle out, and I'm going to put the mudguard in first, and then I can get the wheel in. As soon as I've got the wheel in place, I'll put the bolts back in the mudguard and we'll see how we are then. Right, as you can see, I've got the wheel back in and the mudguard back in. I think next time I do this, I took the mudguard off. I think what I'd do, I'd either use my jacking bench here to jack the bike up. If the stand will sit on this, then jack this up. The reason being then, when I take the wheel out, the wheel will drop out of the bottom and clear the mudguard instead of taking the mudguard off. This is a bit of a nightmare to get on. Trying to fit this back in without scratching it is, I've done it, I ain't scratched it, but it's a right job to get it in, because you have to tip it on its side and it has to go up like that, then at the last second it has to turn so these bits will sit in here. Then you've got to get the bolts in, plus these pivot about all over. Right, I'm about to tighten it up. Now, it's took me a while to find anywhere or anything that's got torque wrench settings. Now, there's a guy on an American bullet site, he's actually spent 6 hours doing a PDF file on torque wrench settings for this and the classic. So I'd like to say thanks to that guy, whoever he is, because couldn't find it anywhere else. I have ordered Haynes manual from Hitchcock's, but till it gets here, you know, I'm just searching the internet for stuff. Right, these here, 20 Newton meters, this one and the one the other side. These here, which are the clamps, 20 Newton meters. Do not over tighten. Do not over tighten these, because you can break the clamp. It doesn't need to be any tighter. These down here, they'll be 8 mil, so I think 20 is okay on these actually. Especially as it's a bullet, it does vibrate a little bit, doesn't she? So it's like I've just tightened these. There's a torque wrench, set at 20 Newton meters. Does not need to be any more. Let's have a look this side. Got the brake caliper to put in. I think 20 is good enough on that. This nut here, the wheel spindle, that wants to be 70 Newton meters. So this one's tightening up to 70 Newton meters. I will put these torque wrench settings that I found. It's the only ones I found. I'm gone by them because the bolts on the stays, they're 8mm thread. 20 Newton meters is right, I think, anyway. But please check them yourselves. I'll have a look when my manual gets here. But I couldn't find anything else. But this bloke's put it on the Royal Enfield site in America. I'm just assuming he wouldn't put them on. He wouldn't risk it unless he found the information from somewhere. Right, so I'm about ready. I'm just going to torque everything up, fit the indicators back on, check the alignment of the bars and everything, get it off the jack, and then we'll see what she feels like. Right, just going to run through a few things again. We know the bolts on the top of the forks, 20 Newton meters, 20 Newton meters, 20 Newton meters. The spindle nut the other side, 70 Newton meters. The brake caliper bolts, 20 Newton meters. This here, this wants to be 20 Newton meters. Just finish this one off. There we go. Don't over tighten this or you could crack it. Before I put the caliper on, just make sure wheel runs nice and free, which it does. Lovely. Yeah. And when you got the front wheel off, it's a good chance to check your front wheel bearings and have a good look around at anything else. Oh yeah. Now my special Royal Enfield toilet roll tool, as you see, that slides up inside there. So that's keeping this is as central to this as it can be. So when the forks are going up and down, the top of the fork, which is the fatter part, isn't going to rub on here. That's the best we can get it. So this side. Yeah, that's the same. Slides nicely up and down, that does. Great. So just a little tip, toilet roll, cut it down the middle, and it gives you a minimum of that thickness clearance. Otherwise, when you take these out of here, you'll find that this can be scored to hell, makes a right mess. And she needs a bit of love, so we've got to keep her looking right, haven't we? Okay, so double check all your bolts, torque wrench setting, indicators back on, their torque wrench 20 Newton meters, the bolt on the back of that. Alright, I'm going to put the caliper on, torque that up, and then take it off its stand, and we'll just try the suspension, but I'm sure it's going to be fine anyway. Right. Alright, all back together. No issues whatsoever. I'll just stand this on here and I'll show you the suspension working. Now, it feels really plush. That's lovely. If you press it down, you'll see it come up and settle. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's only a split second. But it comes back up and then settles, which it should do. Yeah, that feels lovely. It feels a lot better than it did before, actually. Yeah, new oil in it. Surprising what difference it makes. Right, as you can see, I'll just give the fork legs a quick wipe over. Looking loads better. Yeah, perfect. So, hope this was useful to you. It's one of them jobs that some people never even bother ever with. You know, can own a bike 10 years and never change the oil in the forks. As oil deteriorates, it's not nothing that happens overnight. It's gradual. So when you're riding your bike, you don't actually feel the difference. The only difference you'll feel is when you've changed it. As soon as you change it, you think, God, this is better, isn't it? Depending on your mileage, it's like oil can deteriorate over the years. Just because you don't do no miles, don't mean, you know, if it's sat in the garage for 2 years and you never move it, it doesn't mean the oil's still brilliant. But definitely worth doing. I'd say maybe not every year. Definitely do it every 2 years, maybe 18 months. It depends on how many miles I do on my bike. Where you ride, if you're riding on a billiard top road, you know, it's absolutely smooth. The suspension's not working hard. But here in Bulgaria, for me, it'd be working. It was the reason I bought the Himalayan. So the harder the suspension works, the more often the oil wants changing. But you always get a year, I think 18 months out of it. But it's definitely worth doing. So, hope it was useful to you. If you like what I've done, please click like, subscribe, big thumbs up. Leave any comments down below. And I always look at them, always answer them. I will put the torque wrench settings on the video. There's no point in me talking it up, is there, if I don't tell you what the torque wrench settings are. I've gone on 8mm bolt thread size. It's not, you never go on the spanner size, you always go on the actual thread of the bolt. 20 Newton meters. No, for these any bolt this side of us, 20 Newton meters. So I do know the spindle's 70, I can guarantee that. But I will put them on, but if you wish to check before you torque stuff up, just to double check the oddments, I know the spindle's correct, do so. But I wouldn't do anything on my own bike if I didn't think it was correct anyway. So, I hope you liked it. See you in the next video then. Cheers.